Rajdeep and I now want to go to the other big victor of the day.
That's right. That's right. We're joined by what? Omar Abdullah, National Conference Chief, Vice President, or the man who's going to be Chief Minister. Omar Abdullah, you can give us a nice broad smile now. It's been a tough, long day. We saw you in the morning. You had gone for a run. And you were then refusing to speak. You were dissing the exit polls. Now, all these hours later, congratulations. What does it feel like to prove the pollsters wrong, the pundits wrong, and win this big victory in Jammu and Kashmir?
I don't know why you guys insist on doing these polls. When will you give up? These things are a waste of money. They're a waste of time. And the sooner you stop doing them, the better. They never get it right. This was never about the exit polls. It was about the mood of the people. And we could sense that mood during the campaign. We could sense that the people in the areas that we were campaigning wanted to make sure that their votes weren't divided, that their voices weren't scattered. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't expect the National Conference to come back with as many seats as it has done. It's a very humbling verdict. But it's also a verdict that reinforces how much we have to do in Jammu and Kashmir.
The X factor in these elections were the independents and the others. And I want to show our viewers what happened, because one of the reasons why the NC has done as well as it has is because of the fact that all these new formations which were propped up, you know, Engineer Rashid and so much was spoken of him. Omar Abdullah, Farooq Abdullah led a campaign trying to expose him as supposedly an agent of the BJP, picking up only one seat, the Jamaat picking up none. Jamaat supported candidates. The People's Conference, only Sajjad Lone winning one seat, the Apni party of Altaf Bukhari being wiped out, and only 6 independents. Why do you think, despite so much talk on the ground, none of these smaller independents, other smaller parties managed to have any impact on this election, Mr. Abdullah?
Because people in Jammu and Kashmir are more sensible than perhaps some of the talking shops in Delhi gave them credit for being. They saw past this attempt to divide votes. They saw these parties for what they are. They saw these individuals for what they were, and decided that they were not going to allow their votes to be split. They were not going to allow their voice to go unheard. And very sensibly and very tactically voted. In the case of Rashid, I think he basically mistook sympathy for popularity. What he got in Baramulla was personal sympathy at the time of Parliament. He thought it was popularity that would translate into assembly results, and it didn't. So other than his brother, he wasn't able to help anybody win.
You know, but Omar Abdullah, you yourself said today, just now at the outset, you yourself were surprised. What were you surprised by, in a way? Are you surprised by the fact that you all got a clear majority? Were you also expecting a situation of a hung assembly? Are you surprised by the kind of mandate at the end of the day that you got? What has surprised you?
I think the number of seats that the National Conference ended up winning. People did tell us that, look, this is the sort of mood that they're picking up. But, you know, once bitten, twice shy. After what happened to me personally in the Baramulla election, I've sort of, I guess, maybe taught myself to temper my expectations and be a little bit more circumspect
Is that the reason why you contested 2 seats? Because you lost Baramulla in the Lok Sabha, you thought, let's play safe Gandarbal and Budgam?
No, that had nothing to do with it. Gandarbal and Budgam was entirely different. I'm talking about the overall number of seats the National Conference won. Because if you took if you extrapolated the parliament results into assembly seats, we were still the single largest party, but we won about 33 or 34 assembly segments. So we've done significantly better than that this time around.
Mr. Abdullah, Jammu and Kashmir is supposed to be one union territory, but this verdict throws up 2 completely disparate results. I have the Kashmir numbers behind me. 41 for the NC and the Congress, 35 of these for the NC, 5 for the Congress, 1 for the CPM. The PDP only 3, down 23 from the last time. But if we switch over across the other side of the Pir Panjal, you've got the BJP at 29, down 1 from the last time. The NC and the Congress at 8, 7 of those for the NC, 1 for the Congress. how do you look at this split between the Valley vote and the Jammu vote? And as the next Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, what's your message to the people of Jammu who voted for the BJP? How do you hope to govern this union territory, which at some point in time, hopefully soon, will be a state again?
Well, I'm not the incumbent or the Chief Minister-elect. The National Conference Legislative Party hasn't met yet. It is yet to decide its leader, and the alliance will have to decide its leader after that. So,
No, hold on. Omar Abdullah, your father, Farooq Abdullah, has already told us Omar will be Chief Minister. Now you can't...
That's very kind of him, but that's not the way things are done. You have to have a legislative party meeting. The legislators will decide. The alliance has to decide. But leave that aside. I think the more important question is the one that was asked about the divide between Jammu and Kashmir. It is there. It's real. You can't wish it away. And therefore, the incoming government will have to do everything in its power to give a sense of ownership to the people of Jammu. The incoming Chief Minister, his or her ministers, the others in the government will have to reach out to the people in Jammu and tell them exactly what I'm telling you. This is not a government of the National Conference. It's not a government of the Congress. It's a government of the people of Jammu and Kashmir.
But
this is not a government that will work only for the alliance or only work for Kashmir or only work for the people that voted for it. This is a government that will
could you have a deputy chief minister from Jammu, or how are you going to embrace Jammu? As you said, there is a problem, there is a divide. How do you intend to overcome it? Would you have a deputy chief minister? Would you shift the Darbar to Jammu, as used to be the practice?
Jammu has real complaints, real problems, which unfortunately they have chosen not to reflect in the way they vote, which is fine. But that doesn't mean that we didn't hear them when we were campaigning. The points that you talked about the Darbar move. This is a real problem the people of Jammu and Kashmir have. Their problem with electricity, with water, with unemployment, with the lack of development, with no real big projects coming into Jammu that were promised to them. These are real problems that Jammu has. The problem with Agniveer recruitment into the army. Now, that's not something that the government of Jammu and Kashmir can do anything about, but at least we can talk about it, highlight it, and hope that in the future something will change. So, as I said, the incoming government will have to immediately move to give the people of Jammu a sense of ownership. They have to feel,
Mr.
they have
Abdullah,
to know,
the Prime
and they
Minister
have to believe.
called you a short while before. Do you want to give us a sense of that conversation? And was the question of the restoration of statehood discussed? How soon do you hope statehood will be returned to Jammu and Kashmir?
Sorry, who called when?
I'm told that the Prime Minister called you a short while before now. Can you tell us how that conversation went?
No, conversation with who? Sorry, I keep missing the first part of your question.
I said I'm told that Prime Minister Modi called to congratulate you a short while ago.
No, I haven't had a conversation with the Honorable Prime Minister.
But let's come to what Rahul said. Whether you've had that conversation, I'm sure you'll have it at some stage. One of your primary demands was restoration of statehood. Do you have a timeline for that? Do you believe that the Assembly can actually push the centre, given that the Assembly itself has very limited powers, Omar Abdullah, now?
Look, there's a reason why you use the term honourable in front of the words Prime Minister. And I believe this is an honourable Prime Minister. This Prime Minister will live up to his word, his commitment. Nowhere have I heard the Prime Minister, the Honourable Prime Minister, say that statehood will only be restored to a BJP-run Jammu and Kashmir, or statehood will only be restored to Jammu and Kashmir if the BJP is a part of the government. The BJP has always said that it is a three-step process: delimitation, elections, statehood. We've had the delimitation, we've had the elections, now statehood comes next. So obviously I would expect the incoming government, once they're settled in and at work, to travel to Delhi, to meet the Honourable Prime Minister, the Honourable Home Minister and others, and to ask them to live up to the promise they made to the people of Jammu and Kashmir to restore statehood at the earliest.
So am I to understand from what you're saying that by 1st January, we are 3 months away from the end of the year, there's a parliament session in late November. You hope that by the end of the year, Jammu and Kashmir will have full statehood, Omar Abdullah?
I certainly hope so. I'm not the one who unfortunately gets to put a timeline on this, but we will definitely work with the government of India to have statehood restored. And if not, then we'll look at what options are available.
Mr. Abdullah, how disappointed are you with the performance of your alliance partner, the Congress? We heard you yourself, others around you talk about the Congress not putting enough effort, particularly in Jammu. They've done well in the valley, but that's largely riding piggyback on the NC. How disappointed are you with what happened in Jammu and your reflections on the verdict in Haryana?
I think the Congress is going to be disappointed with its own performance, so I don't really need to heap insult on injury. Haryana was a huge shock. All credit to the BJP. They pulled this one out of nowhere. But I'm sure the Congress is going to sit back, analyze what went wrong, and trying to put into place corrective measures in time for Maharashtra and Jharkhand, because those elections are not far away now.
Do you look back at this verdict now and say maybe you could have done it without the Congress? You didn't really need them. Those valley seats you could have properly won, and in Jammu they hardly won any. Could you have done this without the Congress, Mr. Abdullah?
Yeah, but having the look for us, and I've said this before during the election, the alliance with the Congress was not about seats for us. We would have won these seats probably without the Congress, except maybe one of them. For us, it was important to convey to the voters that this was a government that was going to be formed without the need for the BJP. And in that respect, having the Congress as our allies played a very important part in terms of the perception of how voters looked at the National Conference. So, no, I don't think we would have.
So this tie-up, you're still very much part. So presumably, therefore, Omar Abdullah, you're still very much part of the India alliance, that you will still have a government that will have Congress members in it. This will be a coalition government. Am I correct?
Yeah, it will be a coalition government. Absolutely.
Have you spoken to Mr. Rahul Gandhi today? Has he congratulated you?
Who?
Mr. Gandhi? Rahul Gandhi, has he congratulated you?
I keep losing
sir?
part of your question. Did you ask me whether Rahul Gandhi has congratulated us?
Yes.
That's
yes,
right.
Yes.
Yes. Correct. Has Mr. Rahul Gandhi congratulated you, Omar Abdullah?
I'll assume your question is whether Rahul Gandhi has congratulated us, and the answer to that is yes. Rahul spoke to my father a little earlier in the evening and congratulated him, and I was able to speak to Mallikarjun Kharge on the phone, and he extended his congratulations for the performance of the National Conference and the victory of the alliance.
Okay, let me ask you one last question about basically Omar Abdullah. The Abdullahs have been, you've towered over Kashmir politics for more than 5 decades, stretching back to your grandfather. Your critics therefore say you're not Dinis. How will Omar Abdullah in 2024 be different from the Omar Abdullah in 2009 when you became Chief Minister? Then you had a government at the center that was part of your wider UP alliance. Now you will have Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah. Will it be different for you now? Is it a bigger challenge in 2024, particularly given that you have a very limited power as a state assembly?
Rahul, Rajdeep, first of all, let's put that Dinas thing to rest. We win elections, yeah. Nobody puts us on these chairs. The people vote us there. Now, unless you assume all voters are idiots, which I think would be a very unfair assumption to make, just accept that we win elections the way Prime Minister Modi does or anybody else does. So, that aside, how will I be different? Well, let's wait and see. I'm obviously older, wiser, more mature. As far as the fact that this is a government that will have to learn to work with a slightly different setup in the center, I agree. We had, in the previous government I ran, we had a good working relationship with the government of India. I will endeavor to make sure whoever is Chief Minister has a good working relationship with this government. I don't believe that either the union government's interests or the interests of the government of Jammu and Kashmir or the people of Jammu and Kashmir will be served by an antagonistic relationship or a hostile relationship. There is no need for one. Jammu and Kashmir has very different problems. It has special problems, and it doesn't need a hostile relationship between the union and Srinagar. We have enough hostility across our borders. So that will definitely guide the direction that we take going forward.
On a personal note, how difficult have the months since June been for you? Baramulla, losing in Baramulla to Engineer Rashid came as a bolt out of the blue. You weren't clearly thinking that that's likely to happen. Since then, how did you put yourself together, bring this, because this is a remarkable victory for the National Conference and for the Congress in Jammu and Kashmir. How did you bring it together, and how tough was this period recovering from the shock defeat in the Lok Sabha elections?
Look, obviously it wasn't easy. It was difficult. I had people around me who care about me, who rallied around me, who lifted my spirits. There was a lot of self-doubt. There was a lot of sort of turmoil. But then I also went to a school whose motto was never give in. And I live by those words. Yes, I lost, but I dusted myself off, got back up and moved forward. And thankfully, the people of Jammu and Kashmir have given us a mandate, and now it is our responsibility to respect that mandate and live up to it.
On your style of politics, Rajdeep, it's very interesting that Omar went for a run this morning. He had his AirPods or Beats on, went for a run this morning, and he's been doing that all through the campaign. I don't know if any other politician, some of them run at night, like Rahul Gandhi sometimes. There's nobody in the morning on a day like counting when everybody's like, okay, speak to this guy, speak to that guy, what's happening here, what's happening there. How do you do it, and why do you do it, Omar? The fact that everybody's hugely stressed about the voting, and you're out for a run.
I'll tell you why I did it this time. Because the last time I did it on counting day, I lost. And I was actually in two minds as to whether I should do it again. And I told myself, if I go for a run today and I lose, I will never run again in my life. But if I don't run, I need to put this jinx away. So I went for a run and I still won. So now I'll just keep running when I have to.
Okay, so the final question is, how does Omar Abdullah celebrate? You see, you have this image of being a good English gent, very proper.
No, that's just you.
Unlike
your
father.
That's
so,
you and your,
Omar took a little bit of offense this morning when I said that Omar will have an English breakfast while his father will have harissa. So he told me I'm also having harissa. So I want to know, how are you celebrating on a day when you are one of the newsmakers?
I've been with family, I've been with friends, I've been with party colleagues, I've been with party workers. And I haven't yet had a chance to pick up my phone, but I guess at some point I'll try and get down to all the messages and good wishes that I've got from everybody. But I guess no different from anybody else, the way others celebrate after a good day.
Okay, I thought you might tell us that you'd have a glass of white wine and sort of...
No, sir, a good teetotaler. So yes, I've had a nice cup of tea. Noon chai.
Okay, we'll leave it there, Omar Abdullah, and congratulations once again. Good to see the smile back on your face. It's been a tough few months, and you bounced back, and you've given us a big news point that you hope to come to Delhi with your MLAs and then push for statehood. We'll wait and see how that happens and how that plays out. But thank you very much. The likely next Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir. We're joined at this moment. Thank you. We're joined at this moment by Yogendra Yadav of the Swaraj Abhiyan, and someone who's been close to the Congress during the Bharat Jodo, and someone who understands politics well, got 2024 Lok Sabha bang on, but didn't get his home state of Haryana right, and Salman Soz. But to you, Yogendra Yadav, we were on this program, Rahul and I, with you, 4 or 5 months ago, where you got 2024 Lok Sabha spot on when everyone else got it wrong. This time you've got Haryana wrong, along with everyone else. What went wrong?
I don't know, Rajdeep. Honestly, I'm completely stumped. As you know, in the morning when we were discussing on this very show, even by that time, even when early trends started coming, I was reasonably confident that it's going to be Congress victory, although I had clearly opted out of the election forecasting game. But for more than a month, I've been saying it's a foregone conclusion, Congress is ahead, it's only a question of the margin of Congress's victory. So I really don't know. Elections and democracy teaches us humility, not just to the netas, but also to those who observe and write about it. So yes, it's a lesson in humility. All I can say is that what I said was not out of thin air. Look, in Haryana, Congress, BJP always does worse in assembly elections as compared to the Lok Sabha elections. This happened in 2014, it happened in 2019. Expectation was that the same would happen this time, and if it happened, BJP would be out and Congress would clearly win. It was also backed by field experience. I traveled, so did you. I'm sure Rahul must have also traveled. And I came back with an absolutely distinct sense from the field that it's Congress, that BJP is out. And I honestly do not know of any observer, you may know some, but not even those who are sympathetic to the BJP, who said after traveling in Haryana that BJP is ahead, that BJP may form the government. This was, of course, endorsed by exit polls, because I can't think of a single exit poll which, even in its minimum projections for the Congress, said it could get less than 45 seats. So all I said was not in thin air. But clearly this was wrong.
You're right,
So time
it did
to
come
think.
out of thin air, but what could have gone wrong? Because when I look at vote share, both the parties are identical vote share, around 39%, but the BJP with 39% is actually up compared to 2019 in vote share and also in seats. Congress up by 11% vote share, but up in seats by just 6. Was it psephology, the arithmetic of an election in Haryana? Was it that split in the smaller parties' independence, or the consolidation of the non-Jat vote, while the Congress was perceived as a Jat-driven party?
Rajdeep, the fact that Congress has the same vote share as the BJP is a very small consolation for the Congress. This can happen in elections, that you get equal share of votes, but one party gets substantially more seats. So there's nothing very, very unusual about it, and nothing to complain about. This can happen. This has happened to the Congress. The expectation that all of us had was that Congress would be ahead by at least 5 percentage points. Clearly, that did not happen. Two possible ways of looking at it. First, of course, we should begin by assuming that we were wrong. Everyone went there and got it wrong. Well, so what? Improve your understanding. It's counterintuitive. Well, change your intuition, improve your intuition. I've been trying to do that since the morning. And the one thing that strikes me is possibly this. Could it be that the undercurrent which we failed to capture related to the Jat versus non-Jat question? Could it be, this is something we have known, it wasn't a top secret, we knew about it, but I thought this is not going to play out for the third time. On the ground, I did not see intensity at all of this question. But the BJP has been stoking Jat versus non-Jat question. Very obviously, they've been doing so. And it could well be a repeat of what happened in Uttar Pradesh in 2022. Kisan Andolan had happened, Samajwadi Party appeared to be ahead. But the BJP successfully managed to give this message. If Samajwadi Party comes back, it will be a rule of Yadavs, and you know what would happen and so on. And that stuck till 2024, when Akhilesh Yadav went out of his way to remove this. That stuck to him. Could it be that something similar may have happened in Haryana?
Could it also be, Yogendra ji, just plain hubris and overconfidence on the part of the Congress?
That narrative.
Because Congress and its entire echo chamber seemed so convinced that they were winning that they didn't even examine for a moment what happened in Chhattisgarh or Madhya Pradesh under similar circumstances in Chhattisgarh, where the Congress was convinced they were winning in a tactical head-on-head fight with the BJP. Ultimately, they ended up losing. So hubris and overconfidence, you think, had a role to play in this spectacular Congress defeat?
Well, if there was echo chamber, I must confess I was part of that, because I also believed it. So I cannot now step out and say, well, they did not know. I mean, the fact is no one had this sense. And if there was hubris, you have to say, because of hubris, they took these 1, 2, 3 wrong steps. That's what we need to get into. But I must mention something else, because I would be failing in my duty if I did not, and therefore I wanted to say all this before that. This evening, Congress party has held a press conference and has said something serious which neither Congress nor the BJP has ever said. They said they do not accept these results. Now, that's a very serious thing. They have come up with evidence. I have reviewed that evidence in the case of one constituency, Narnaul in Mahendragarh. The allegation is specifically this, that there were EVMs which, when opened, had 99% charge, which should not be the case. And the allegation, and that's something that I have looked at, is that in those booths where the EVM had 99% unusual charge, that is where Congress's vote difference with BJP is much higher. That is to say, those booths have somewhat counterintuitively gone against the Congress. So that's one constituency. Congress in its press conference has said that they have many such things from Panipat and from Hisar. They have promised that by tomorrow they would bring this evidence. I would also, while not at all taking away from our responsibility, from our mistakes and wanting to improve it, I would also wait for that evidence from Congress. The duty is on Congress to bring it out, and the responsibility, the onus is also on the Election Commission of India to properly respond to it, not just
But that sounds like a loser's lament, Yogendra ji.
Elections should be fair and should be seen to be fair.
Sir, when an EVM is sealed, you don't know what is inside that EVM. You don't know kiska vote hai, kahan se aaya. So that is very difficult. You can't, without opening the EVM, you don't know. So that just sounds like a loser's lament. When they had 99 seats in the Lok Sabha, nobody was cribbing about EVMs not being opened properly or the EC not doing its job. Just on the day the Congress loses, suddenly democracy is in danger, EVMs are being manipulated, and when they do well, then everything is hunky-dory. That's really not fair, sir.
Rahul, you are speaking to someone who has written an article 10 days ago saying EVM manipulation issue should be put to rest, that we should not make that into a central issue. Incidentally, what's being talked about today is not software manipulation of EVM. What they are talking about is, without saying so, is the possibility of replacement of EVM. Now, it's not easy to replace EVM because there are signatures involved, etc. So there is an onus on the Congress to put this evidence in public domain, and there is onus on the EC to explain it. Do remember, Rahul, that Congress has lost many elections, but Congress has not said what it has said in the press conference today, to my mind, earlier. So if a national party says it, I would take it seriously. I would wait for the evidence. I would not treat it as one more, because we talked about Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh. I don't remember Congress saying what it has said today. So I would therefore wait for some evidence to come. And if there is an evidence, we should also look into that. All I'm
the
saying
reason,
is
Yogendra
wait
Yadav,
for
is
evidence.
until now, you too have always said, let's not be skeptical of EVMs. It cannot be that when we win, EVMs are okay. When we lose, we have a problem. You've always said that there is no evidence that EVMs have been fudged, even in the Lok Sabha elections, when others were saying there could be question marks over EVMs. You disregarded it. You've not been an EVM skeptic. Are you telling me that this evidence you actually believe is making you an EVM skeptic suddenly?
No, Rajdeep. All I'm saying is here is someone has come up with a concrete instance, and it's not about EVM tampering. It's not about that software tampering or any such thing. It's a slightly different, traditional, old-style issue. It's almost like changing the ballot box. It's that kind of an issue. Someone has come up with a concrete allegation. So here is an election which is where the outcome is very counterintuitive, not just for Congress supporters, for everyone. And then there is this allegation. The least it deserves is addressing it. I'm not yet saying Congress's allegations are correct. We should not believe it. The onus should be on the Congress to provide solid evidence. I have seen one constituency, and if what I've been given by the candidate is correct, then it does raise question, because the difference in one set of booths and the other set of booths is almost, in one set of booths he trails by 12%. In the other set of booths, he trails by 24%. Now, that's a very serious difference.
Do you think not tying up with the Aam Aadmi Party for the Congress was a big mistake?
If these are verified, we should
Because there are lots of tactical things that happened on the ground. The data intelligence unit just put out a visualization, sir. The Congress lost 14 seats to the BJP in Haryana, where the defeat margin was less than the votes secured by the second runner-up party. 10 of these are independents, 3 INLD and 1 BSP. So there's lots that happened in terms of election management, engineering, ground offensive, which the BJP did better, which is also part of the reason why they're on top and the Congress is behind today.
I agree. I think this is an interesting possibility. We should see it. Someone said Congress rebels. I checked, and only in 2 places you have Congress rebels, Congress's official rebels, who have cost them an election. Aam Aadmi Party, I'm not sure if they have substantial vote share, which was transferable to the Congress. I don't think they had that. In the case of INLD and BSP, they are a serious contender. They have a substantial chunk of votes. But was there a possibility of an alliance with INLD and BSP? I'm not sure there was that possibility. So yes, certain things could be improved, and especially there would be questions about ticket distribution, because Congress repeated all its sitting MLAs. Someone needs to check. I've not been able to check. My sense was that many of these sitting MLAs had serious anti-incumbency against them. So that question, of course, would be asked. Questions would be asked about the overall tactics that adopted by Congress, and credit must be given to the BJP for taking some very smart and courageous decision. Bringing in Mr. Naib Singh Saini was a decision. When I was doing field work, everyone appreciated and said Saini is better than Khattar. But my assessment was that, and everyone also said, it's too late. Ab karne se kya fayda? Waise acha to hai. In retrospect, that looks like a smart decision. BJP
what
also
impact does
in ticket
Haryana have on
distribution took some
Maharashtra and
bold
Jharkhand in
decisions
your view?
Not to renominate their MLAs.
Given that we have an election virtually days from
It
now,
will have an
what
impact
election
on
will
the
this,
morale.
what impact will this
I
verdict
said,
have?
yeah. Look, if Congress had won today, I would have said it will not affect the voters of Maharashtra and Jharkhand, but it will affect the morale of the workers. The same holds now in the case of BJP victory. It may not directly translate to voter, but morale of the worker, political mood of the country, and momentum. That is a gain BJP has had, and therefore the task for the opposition is much tougher now. The ball now shifts to these two states, and the opposition has to win them, because if the opposition loses Maharashtra and Jharkhand, then of course BJP would be able to argue that, look, Lok Sabha election was a blip, back to BJP dominance. But should the BJP lose Jharkhand and Maharashtra, everyone would forget Haryana. That's where we stand.
But you agree, as we conclude, that the momentum now is firmly with the BJP, that what 5 months ago appeared the BJP looking shaky, the Modi factor is far more resilient, is what has been proven today, and therefore the next 6 weeks leading into Maharashtra and Jharkhand, the momentum is now squarely with the BJP, is more and more clear, is back with the BJP.
Not firmly, but for the time being. Certainly, we are in the middle of elections. One set of elections have happened, the other set of elections are about to happen. For the time being, yes, BJP has the momentum, no one can deny that, because the opposition would have had the momentum if they had won. And Jammu and Kashmir victory is not enough for you to neutralize the impact of Haryana's defeat. So yes, the momentum is with the BJP, but for the time being, because we are just entering the next set of elections, and in a sense, Maharashtra now, more than any other state, will decide. Rajdeep, your state.
It's even, Yogendra Yadav, you saw what happened in your home state of Haryana. I'm not going to predict anything anymore. I've been once bitten, Lok Sabha, twice bitten, now Haryana. I've decided I am 3 times shy. I will only watch what happens in Maharashtra and see the various ulat fairs and somersaults that now take place over the next 6 weeks. But you're right, Maharashtra now becomes more important than ever before. It will set the agenda at the end of 2024.
So agenda set ho gaya?
No, I don't think so.
Has set the agenda.
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
I'll tell you why, Rahul. This is the problem we have. We go, and I think I admit in all humility to be as guilty as anyone. I think we tend to make instant judgments. Haryana election, as we've seen with the vote shares, very, very close. One party has won. Big day for the BJP, no doubt about it. But I think the agenda for every election, Rahul, is very different.
Most certain.
And therefore, because I think Maharashtra is so much more complex and complicated than a Haryana is, in many other ways.
But look at the fact
I think momentum is with the BJP.
But we've got Yogender ji here. Yogender ji was saying earlier, and with no disrespect to him, that, brand Modi is on a decline, that the opposition has the momentum, that this will signal the further decline. If Yogender ji is still around, do you want to take back some of that? Because that panditry around, brand Modi being in decline, that it almost being certain that in 2029 the opposition would come to power, that these were the last 5 years of the Modi Sarkar. If after 2 terms of being in power in Haryana they can win despite all this anti-incumbency, then all that panditry about brand Modi and brand BJP being in decline really goes out of the window.
I'm here. May I respond, Rahul?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, please, Yogendraji.
Yeah. I do believe that brand Modi is on decline. As you know and everyone knows, Mr. Modi had almost nothing to do with Haryana elections. The simple fact is, and that's a fact, it's not interpretation. Mr. Modi was not projected in the Haryana election at all. From BJP's own hoardings, he almost disappeared to a tiny corner with Naib Saini. He did not address meeting. BJP people themselves were very shy. And if we do a strict comparison now, from Lok Sabha election to Lok Sabha election, Mr. Modi managed to lose 30 points lead, while his compatriots in the BJP state unit have managed to retain and improve. I don't know how that becomes Mr. Modi's success. At the same time, it is true that because BJP has the momentum, because, as I said, Jammu and Kashmir's verdict cannot wash away Haryana's shock. So yes, the momentum is the BJP.
I'll tell you how, Yogendraji, it's a victory for brand Modi and for the BJP.
That's very
because let's imagine, let me draw a cricketing analogy. Imagine you've got Sachin Tendulkar as captain of the Indian team, and Tendulkar is your most fearsome batsman. Suddenly at Sharjah Sandstorm, he helps you win, and he's the one carrying your team through. In the next match, he doesn't go out and do all the heavy lifting. The team does. The Sangathan, the Karyakarta, the ground management, the booth management, the Prana Pramukhs, they do their job. It is still brand Modi and the BJP which is at the helm, and you've got them being able to win without Prime Minister Modi having to do the heavy lifting. That's an even bigger victory for the Sangathan and for the BJP than to have one person carrying you to victory on his shoulders.
You are absolutely right. Taking your own metaphor forward, in the second match, if Sachin Tendulkar did not have to bat and the team wins, that would be a victory for Team India. That would be a victory for the organization. In the parallel, it will be a victory for the BJP party. BJP takes the credit. But I and you were trying to distinguish between brand BJP and brand Modi. I do not see how that logic improves Mr. Modi's performance for the time being. But as all of us might agree, the real test comes in Maharashtra and Jharkhand. Let's wait for that.
We'll wait for Maharashtra and Jharkhand, Yogendra Yadav. It will be another fascinating election. Good to have you on the show, and I appreciate your humility in accepting that you got it wrong. I accept my humility that as a reporter, I misread the mood on the ground, and that's the way it is. I think, the more humble we are, maybe we'll course correct and get better the next time. Thank you very much.
Will we see some humility from Salman Soz? Because Salman Soz, the Congress, is now with us, and he's been beating his chest, punching everyone, saying, we'll do this, we'll do that. And Salman Soz now, you won in Jammu and Kashmir, but that's largely thanks to the National Conference. And in Haryana, where the Congress was in a direct fight with the BJP, you've been bested in the Haryana dangle. Where do you think the script went so horribly wrong for the grand old party?
Well, first of all, let me congratulate our colleagues, our alliance partners, National Conference, for such a fantastic result. Congratulations to Farooq Abdullah Sahab and Omar Abdullah Sahab for a wonderful victory. I wish the Congress party had done better in Jammu and Kashmir. We have not, but with our seats and the National Conference and some other partners in the India Alliance, we will form the government, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to the people of Jammu and Kashmir for supporting our alliance. As far as Haryana is concerned, our party has already made our stand very clear. We don't know. There are three or four districts where we think there are some problems that we bring into the attention of the Election Commission, and we will see what happens. Now, Rahul, if indeed these results stand after our complaints are assessed by the Election Commission, then of course we will congratulate the BJP and with all humility accept the verdict of the people and then understand what happened. But until our complaints are reviewed by the Election Commission, until that time, we have to be patient.
But Salman Soz, we are happy to be patient, but will there be any introspection? You see, the BJP seemingly introspected after their relatively, I won't say poor, but below expectations performance in a few states in the Lok Sabha. Haryana was one of them. They seem to have got their act together. Will the Congress also introspect? The introspection can't be surely only that, were the EVMs fair to us? The introspection surely will be, did we present a collective leadership? Did we put all our eggs in one basket? Did we get our organizational issues badly wrong? Will there be that introspection, whether it's for Jammu or whether it's for Haryana?
Well, Rahul, Rajdeep, let me just focus on Jammu and Kashmir first, because as I said about Haryana, our party is going to complain is putting in its complaint and our evidence in front of the Election Commission. Let's see what the Election Commission says. As far as Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, of course, we must introspect. We will have to. We have no choice, because we as a party owe it to our workers, owe it to our supporters, owe it to the country to see why we have not done well, and we must have accountability. And I would be the first person to ask for accountability in our party in Jammu and Kashmir, and I will push for that. And I'm sure others will as well. I have no doubt that this is not, an acceptable result as far as our own party's performance is concerned. But like I said, I'm grateful to the people for supporting the alliance overall. If you ask Omar Abdullah will be the first one to say that through this alliance, the Congress party, they were able to also convince everybody in Jammu and Kashmir that they stand totally opposed to the BJP and its politics, and that has in some ways helped the national conference. But of course, our own performance has been disappointing, and we must take stock of what has happened, because that is what our workers and supporters deserve.
Because the question is, does the Congress have it in it to course correct? And that's the question I will leave, my final question to you. The feeling is, the BJP, even today as a bigger party, is nimble enough to course correct. The Congress seems to lack something that prevents it from course correcting, and therefore you stumble from one defeat to another, just as we thought you were regaining ground in 2024 Lok Sabha.
Rajdeep, if we had not course corrected, how would we bounce back from some of the most difficult defeats that we faced in parliamentary election? We have course corrected. This is clear. This is a setback. Don't get me wrong. This is a setback in Jammu and Kashmir. It's a setback, and if these results hold in Haryana, of course, it's a setback. But I'm
okay. We are having a problem with your
really
audio.
Believe that we have turned the page. We've turned a corner. The Congress party has turned the corner, and I think we are in. I think we can change. We can get stronger. I think Maharashtra and Jharkhand will have different results. I'm confident.
Okay. We'll wait and see. Maharashtra, Jharkhand becoming more and more important and significant. It's the final battle, because if the BJP now wins both, thank you very much, Salman Soz. If the BJP wins both, and most observers there are saying Jharkhand is where the BJP has every chance to win. Maharashtra till this morning was seen as a state where the opposition had the edge. But everyone I speak to in Maharashtra this evening seems to say, up the momentum BJP ke paas hoga. In fact, there's talk.
No, but can I just say, what 2024 and the Lok Sabha elections and this assembly election show is that Hawa doesn't matter. What happens on TV or what is said on social media doesn't matter, because if that mattered, the Congress would not have won Haryana. So you win despite that.
No, so am I right, Amitabh, in saying that the BJP, what we are saying, that the BJP now goes in with momentum today. Maharashtra is what, 6 weeks from today at best. By the 15th of November, we'll be back here 5 to 6 weeks. So there's not even much time. Do you sense the BJP now has a clear momentum, or is it a very different state to Haryana?
No, it's a very different state to Haryana, but it has the momentum. See, it gives them the elbow to negotiate hard with the allies now. It weakens the bargaining power of Congress. It gives a message to its neutral voters, that is non-aligned voters, that BJP is still in contention. It's down and out, but it has come back strongly. And Brand Modi has reinvented himself, because if he is in power for 23 years as a CM or a Prime Minister, his ability to keeping on reinventing himself is what keeps him away from the pack.
That's a good word, and you can sense today in Mr. Modi's speech also that the mojo was back. He was back to taking on the Congress on very specific issues. And if he can sustain this over the next 1 month, which is leading up to Maharashtra, I think the BJP will believe that they can get Maharashtra in the bag. You agree with that, Rajat, that now the momentum has shifted?
certainly, no doubt about it. But, this verdict can actually go both ways in Maharashtra. It actually sobers down Congress because they have been the biggest stumbling block for finalization of seat distribution. And, they were trying to stampede through and, push their agenda through. But I think now, even within the Mahavikas Aghadi, there will be a lot of political entrepreneurs who would, lower their expectations and try and find some adjustments instead of going out and hurting the alliance. BJP, of course, with its solid momentum, will be able to push Shinde and Ajit Pawar into their rightful positions in the negotiation table. So this verdict, surprisingly, can actually fuel in good outcomes for both the UT as well as the Aghadi. So again, net, you just can't say. Maharashtra is just way too complex.
I'll tell you, there was an MVA
way
leader.
Too complex.
While most of the BJP leaders today in Maharashtra will believe the momentum is there, there's an MVA leader who's also told me he's secretly happy because their biggest fear was if the Congress won big in Haryana, they would start dictating terms to them in the state. So it's strange how politics works. Many of the India allies also secretly, I think, are happy in a way that the Congress has been brought a peg down because they want to negotiate better with the Congress. I think that's a bad tactic, personally, because
why is it a bad tactic?
As we saw with,
an overconfident, hubristic Congress for the allies is tougher to deal with.
That's what I'm saying. No, my point is, for example, in Haryana, the Samajwadi Party had wanted a couple of seats in the Ahirwal belt, where there's a large Yadav presence. Aam Aadmi Party wanted 2 to 3 seats, 3 or 4 seats. Congress rejected it because all the pollsters, strategists said, no, you're winning. Presumably that's the reason. They paid a price for it. Recall even Madhya Pradesh, Kamal Nath said no to an alliance with the Samajwadi Party. They paid a price for it. Where you tie up or where you're a junior partner and willing to concede, the Congress seems to work better. Prime Minister hinted at it.
Yes.
If you recall, Prime Minister said, that the Congress expects...
So what song would Rahul Gandhi be singing today? He's not tweeted. The interesting thing is,
now, you see,
he hasn't posted anything.
My friend Rahul Kamal, when I retire, I will keep all these exchanges you and I have will get me into trouble. Rahul has a large following on Twitter who's waiting for Rahul to troll Rajdeep, but I will still sing you a song.
What's the song?
Kya se kya ho gaya तेरे प्यार में
किसके प्यार में
हरियाणा के प्यार में हरियाणा का प्यार में नहीं जलेबी के प्यार में हरियाणा के प्यार में क्या से no look this was a day unbelievable
what song would Modi ji be singing
I'm the best कोई हीरो यहाँ कोई जीरो यहाँ I'm the best Mr. Modi would love to sing that
वो सिकंदर ही दोस्तों कहलाता है हारी बाजी को जीतना जिसे आता है
अरे वाह see he's a better he understands his Hindi music better than I do you want to sing that song
no we have a montage which will sing that song out
okay
and that's true Hari bazi ko jeet kar
just think about it Rahul 9 a.m. Pawan Khera with crackers behind him with laddus behind him 10 a.m. complete silence it can only happen in this wonderful country called India. That's what makes Indian elections so special.
And maybe abuse the media a little less.
Yeah,
all kinds of...
And people have been taking off what I said at 9 a.m. and then 11 a.m. I will have to go by the numbers. You show me 64 seats, I have to explain why they're getting 64. They go down to 30, I have to find a new explanation for it. But I think all of us have to take a step back and perhaps try and be a little more patient, press the pause button, and realize that every Indian state is distinctive to the other. I am not going to touch any prediction on Maharashtra. All I'm going to say is that I look forward to a great election in my home state.
Oh, absolutely. So this is where we wrap up. Thank you very much for tuning in. Prime Minister Modi very clearly singing Hari Bazi ko jeetna hame aata hai. Haryana was done and dusted for a long time. They've been able to turn this election around in the last few days and weeks in what will be one of the most remarkable turnaround stories in the history of modern Indian politics. Thank you for tuning in on a fascinating day. Here's how we end.
Bye-bye.